How you doing, traders? Danny Riley with today's midday update. The name of today's video is going to be the S&P 500 futures and 7 days to the U.S. elections. I want to remind everyone that these are not our father's markets, and nor are these his charts, and in no way, shape, or form are these markets ever going to go back to the way they used to be. There is no used to be. There is no old days. It's only new days of these algorithms and these coders catching up with every nuance, every pattern that they can find. The high of the day in the S&P came at 21.2775 at about 10:30 Central Time. The low came in at 21.1975 at about 1:50 Chicago time, and last were 21.20 even. Were down 4 handles on the day. Total volume is a little bit better for Monday. Mondays always start out the week a little bit slow, but we've got about 970,000 minis traded. Let's see. Now the MIM is starting to show small to sell, like 250 million. Now, real quick, I just want to go over a couple things. We do. It's 7 days to the election, and there's a lot of stuff going on here. But let's start with what's going on this week. It's a busy week. We have a total of 24 economic releases, which is a very high level, but also 134 names in the S&P, or 27% of the S&P reports this week. So you've got a lot of economic reports, you've got a lot of earnings reports, and we started out the week with Chicago PMI, and then we end it with the jobs report. And I think this is going to be a critical jobs report. As we get closer to the election, as we get closer to the end of the year, and as we get closer to the Fed's decision on interest rates, this is all going to play out pretty heavily. And again, I think the Fed funds are showing like a 78% chance, like a 7% chance of a rate hike in November, and about a 78% chance of a rate hike in December. So these are pretty big. This is pretty big stuff. Now, I got to ask you guys, what's going on here? At the end of the day, I'm going to tell you, there really doesn't seem to be that much going on right now. And what I've been trying to talk about is I think that people have lowered their exposure. I just hung up with the Pitbull a minute ago. He asked me what I thought was going on. And I think at the end of the day, I think people are scared. They look at this crazy election in the United States, the world's largest economy, world's largest military, and we look like a bunch of buffoons. And the FBI, and I got to say this, I'm not for or against either or, but at the end of the day, the FBI goes in front of, the Senate and or Congress, and they talk about, how Hillary didn't do anything wrong. And then a week, 10 days before the election, the FBI comes back and says that they want to look at more emails, and all tied to that wiener, the congressman that continues to do weird stuff on the internet and sexting. Is that what they call it? Sexting, 15 or 16-year-old. And now they're subpoenaing for 650,000 emails. It's unheard of. 7 days before the election. But at the end of the day, what I think has happened here is there's been not just the public that's lowered its exposure, but the hedge funds have also lowered their exposure. Long hedge fund exposure was 14% last week. It's 19% this week, and it's down. That's down from 45%. Let's see, in early September. I'm looking at a little bit of my notes, but I don't really need my notes. At the end of the day, I just get this gut feeling, and I've been talking about this for a couple of weeks, that there's something missing here. Now, my question to you traders is simple. Is the U.S. election, presidential election, similar to what was going on in Europe with London and Brexit? Now, while they may be totally different situations, I do think that there is some similarities. I didn't think there was before, but I'm starting to think that there is. And there was a story out that a guy that's forecasted the presidential elections for the last 45 years, it says that Trump is going to win and that he's going to win big. And I don't know what's going to happen. I think it's absolutely crazy. But on the other side of the coin, I think big money in the United States, like, and I'm not saying the Pitbull is huge money, but he's pretty big money. He said that he thinks the fix is in and that Hillary is going to get elected. Now, I want to talk about that real quick about the fix. The fix is just how the government runs. And if Donald's going to complain because he isn't part of the fix or is on the outside of the fix, that's just, the way it goes. I mean, he didn't do what he should have done in the beginning of the election. He insulted everyone, women, the ethnics. He insulted everybody. But then at the end of the day, when I was out downtown Delray the other night, I was talking to 2 or 3 women, and all 3 women said that they were going to vote for Donald Trump. And me, I came from a family of 6 girls, and my dad taught me, you're supposed to be respectful of women and, not to beat them up when I'm a little kid, don't fight with your brother and sister. But at the end of the day, I asked these women, I was like, what's up with this? I go, he's insulted women so terribly. And they just came out. They said they just can't, they hate Hillary. So I don't know who's going to win this thing. But I think the Pitbull said it. He still thinks that Hillary's got the big advantage. But that doesn't mean this is going to be over, because I don't think that Donald is just going to throw in the towel if Hillary gets elected. But as we go into, we've got 7 days to this election. We just went down to 1875 low. We're on the low end of the trading range right now. And what I want to talk about real quick before I jump off is, like I said, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I came out and I said the S&P or the markets have a very spooky feeling to them. And I think they do. I don't know that if it's the election, if it's interest rates, if it's the markets are just, it feels like some headline could hit and just say boo, and the S&P would go sailing down. But at the end of the day, if indeed that we are in a Brexit type situation going into these elections, I would think that they would sell the news on either candidate being elected, whether it be Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump, that the initial reaction would be to sell. And then I think, like Brexit, there's going to be a big rally. And I told that to the Pitbull a couple minutes ago. As far as volume's concerned, again, Mondays start out the week kind of low. It kind of builds up throughout the week. And like I said, we've got the jobs report on Friday, and then we've got the election, and then, a lot going on here, a lot going on. But at the end of the day, I'm thoroughly convinced that what's going on here is that people have lowered their risk. They're risk reverse. They're either out of the market, there's less day trading going on, and people are just kind of buckling down to see what's going to happen here over the next 7 days. We're going to leave it like that. I want to remind everybody, I'm going to be doing something, daily updates now live on Facebook. I know Facebook, but you know what? Facebook live streaming is very clear. I can show charts. I can talk about stuff. We can do a lot there. I'm also going to continue doing my periscopes, and I would suggest if you want to get the latest updates, I do something called the Final 45 at 2:15 Central Time till the close. We go over charts, we talk about markets, we talk about Danny Riley's adventures, and last but not least, we do trading. So, and then I'm going to also close it out that I took over one of the accounts that I gave out to a trader, 2 traders actually, and I started trading one of them about 2 weeks ago. I'm going to go out October up 7.5% in that account. And what I've really learned about this is that, follow the patterns that you see and go with it. If you see the S&P continue to hold at a level and you think the markets are good, play into that level. If you think they're no good, they're exhausted, play into that level. But at the end of the day, use stops, get in, get out, and never fall in love with your position. I'm going to leave it like that, and I'll see you guys on the Final 45.